I'm here with my lovely mother.
Hi, I'm Janette.
And today we are going to pick one in Hollywood studios. So a few other podcasts I know have done this in the past. So we are going to pick one snack, one quick service, one table service restaurant, one spot to shop, one character to meet, one show to watch, and one ride, all in Hollywood studios. So it's kind of like the best of the best. Which ones would we pick? All right, we're going to start off with the first one, our snack. So what snack would you pick in Hollywood studios?
I have to do a preempt here on Hollywood studios.
Yeah, she doesn't like Hollywood studios.
No,
so.
When Amanda told me what I had to do to prep for this, I was laughing because I said, oh, damn, Hollywood studios. That's really hard for me. It wasn't as hard as I thought because when I started sitting down and thinking about it, but I was laughing because I said Hollywood studios is not my favorite park. And I don't do a lot in Hollywood studios because I don't like Star Wars. I don't go on the high rides. I don't do any of that stuff. So I do a lot of waiting around. So when I picked my stuff, it was more because I said to myself, oh, yeah, but I know certain places that I like to go and like to do because of that. So we probably have different ideas about Hollywood studio. But my snack was on the Sunset Ranch Market, which is on Sunset Boulevard, that market that's along the side. Yeah. But anyway, I do a lot of waiting around, as I said. And over there is where Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster are. But because I sit around a lot, like that one is the best snack place for me because I realize that they have everything. Like they have all these little booths along the way. You can get, I mean, I've seen people get breakfast there with the waffles and the whipped cream and the stuff. I've watched them eat it while I was sitting there.
So what snack would you get there?
Ice cream. Yeah, they have an ice cream place, but you can get an ice
Sundays, right?
Yes, they do Sundays, but you can get an ice cream bar. Mickey, they always have a little thing there, like a little cart over there for for ice cream too. So you could get an ice cream. I can get something to drink, even if I just wanted a bag of chips while I was sitting there, because sometimes in the parks I just want something salty. So I could get a bag of chips. So that's my favorite snack place. So that's why I picked that snack place because of all the variety.
Well, it's very versatile. Yeah.
Yes.
So I went with a place that it's something that's very exclusive to Hollywood studios. You cannot get this item anywhere else in any of the parks or really anywhere else. Honestly, I think anywhere except for maybe in Disneyland.
I know where it is. Okay.
So this is the blue milk in Galaxy's Edge. And so I really, overall, it's funny because like the last couple times I've had the blue milk, to me, the blue milk is overpriced. It's like $10 for the blue milk with no alcohol in it, which is very expensive for a little cup of milk if you think about it. But the thing is, though, it does taste very good in my opinion. And again, it's a very unique snack that you can only get when you're in Galaxy's Edge. It's the only thing you can get when you're in Hollywood studios. So I do think in that sense, like the exclusivity of it, I think is really unique. And Hollywood studios does have a lot of exclusive snacks within the parks that are only in there. Because another shout out to the Lunchbox treat that's over at Woody's Lunchbox, which is in Toy Story Land. Right. Again, another treat that you can only get in Hollywood studios. Right. Again, there's a few other treats as well that you can only really get in Hollywood studios because of the lands that are in Hollywood studios. Now, same thing in Disneyland though. So some of these lands, if they're repeated in Disneyland, of course you can get them there as well. Right. And I'm assuming eventually one day Galaxy's Edge will be spread out to some of the other international parks as well. But again, for now, I thought I would go with the blue milk because again, it's just like, it's such a unique snack that you can kind of get within the parks in itself. Sorry, what is your quick service that you picked?
Okay, the quick service that I did was the Backlot Express. We've eaten there. Problem is that like a lot of times on quick service, we don't eat a lot of food in Hollywood studios on a regular basis. But I found that the Backlot Express always had a nice menu. They always had a variety of stuff and a hamburger, like hamburger and french fries. And it what I like about it also is at the back of the park. And by the time we are hungry and want to do something, we're always usually at that space in the park. Because the ABC commissary was also on my list.
The ABC commissary would never be on my list.
Oh, see, that was
also
also
commissary
on my list.
has horrible food. I would never eat there again.
I get a hamburger. So
yeah,
that's
I would
like,
never eat at the ABC commissary
but
again.
But the Backlot Express, I know that I looked at their new menu because I know they change the menus all the time and we haven't eaten there in a while. But even looking at their new menu, there's a couple of things besides the hamburger and french fries that I would say, oh, I would eat that, or I would eat that. And like I said, I kind of like the atmosphere. It's always cool in there and it's like a little darker
Yeah, I think
atmosphere.
the only downside it is predominantly outdoors for the most part.
It is predominantly, but they do have some indoor tables.
Well, it's open air is really what it is, I would say.
Yes.
So
whereas
it's always, the ABC commissary is fully like indoors.
Yes, that's one of the reasons I thought of the ABC commissary because we would go in there and it would always be cool and, whatever.
Yeah.
I do like the Backlot Express. It has the atmosphere, it had the thing. So that's why I picked that one.
So for my quick service, I picked the Baseline Tap House. I've been to the Baseline Tap House a few times and I think it's just a really great spot. Now, I feel like this is not like an original idea to pick the Baseline Tap House. I feel like everyone likes the Baseline Tap House. But again, it's like they have a lot of really good snacks. The Bavarian pretzel, which is really good. The salt and vinegar chips. They have the charcuterie board. And of course, they have a whole drink selection as well with specifically a lot of beers on tap. And I think that's a big point to make just because if you are a beer drinker, like I know it tastes different when it's on draft.
I'm not a beer drinker, so I didn't even think about the beer tap.
I don't drink beer myself either, but my fiance does drink beer. So we have gone here twice actually just so he could get a drink. drink. Now there is very limited indoor seating. I feel like that's the worst part about Baseline Tap House is that there you can sit at the bar and they have some other seats kind of around inside, but for the most part it's almost fully outdoor seating and you're almost fully in the sun too. They do have umbrellas, but just the way the sun hits that area, you're still kind of in the sun.
Well, that's a lot
thing.
of places in Hollywood
So
Studios.
it kind of depends, honestly, but I still overall really like the Baseline Tap House. And whenever you're there, honestly, it's always super crowded. So I feel like that's how you know it's a good spot when it is crowded. And again, the pretzel is really good. So I definitely suggest the Baseline Tap House. And again, overall, most of the quick services in Hollywood Studios I don't really like. The only other one I thought about was the main one, not Ronto Roasters, but the other one that's in Galaxy's Edge. I thought it did have good food. But the thing is that the only vegetarian option wasn't really like a meal. It was almost like a snack was the thing. Oh, okay. So that's why I decided not to go with the main quick service in Galaxy's Edge because they didn't have like a full meal for vegetarians. So, but all right, that brings us to our table service restaurant. So which table service restaurant did you
table
pick?
service, the only real, well, I've eaten in the Sci-Fi. I would never go back to the Sci-Fi. I didn't like that. First of all, I don't like sci-fi movies, so why would I want to watch that while I'm eating? But we were with friends and they wanted to go there, so I didn't like that when you were younger. But I like the Brown Derby. We ate at the Brown Derby when you were younger, I remember, and it was very good. Their menu for me, I'm not for you so much, that's why we don't really ever go to the Brown Derby, but for me, the menu is okay because there's a couple of things in there I like, and I like the atmosphere. Even the outdoor tables, like how they have them set and where they are. I like that outdoor tables. I love the inside. I love the whole idea of the Brown Derby and what it looked like in that era. So I really did like the Brown Derby. So that's what I would pick as my sit down.
And we have a whole episode actually like just for the Brown Derby where we go through the history of the Brown Derby as well. So if you're interested in that, you can go take a listen to that. Now I feel like the table service restaurant in Hollywood Studios is hard because I have genuinely not eaten at a table service restaurant in Hollywood Studios
since you were a kid.
In over 10 years. So it's been a long time. And that's just because most of the table service restaurants I don't think are that great in Hollywood Studios. No. That's just really what it comes down to. No. You're really trying to pick and choose. Even for the quick service, I'm like, damn, we're really picking and choosing here because it is pretty hard to pick a place.
That's what I mean. It was very hard to do this when I first saw it.
And it's funny because even for quick service, I actually would have done Pizza Rizzo, but Pizza Rizzo just closed for the next place for Monstropolis. Right. Now, I am assuming when Monstropolis opens, the Pizza Rizzo restaurant will reopen as a rethemed pizza place for Monstropolis. Yes. So probably in the future, that's going to be my favorite quick service restaurant in the future. But as of right now, I don't know what it's going to be called. Don't know what it's going to be rethemed to for Monstropolis. Back in the day, it was Pizza Rizzo, and way back in the day, it was Pizza Planet, if you remember that.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why I think that we don't stay in Hollywood Studios. We go in the morning, we do what we have to do, and by the afternoon, we're out of there because there's really no restaurants we want to stick around for.
So for my table service restaurant, the one I actually did pick was the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And it's mainly for that atmosphere because I think like when you see what it looks like, it's just really cool when the fact that you're sitting in a little car, there's like the movies on the screen, which I think is really cool. I looked at the menu again for it. Now, menus in Disney change pretty frequently.
Yes, that's why I had to look at the menus, yes.
So right now, they are serving classic American food, and they have an order of nachos with Impossible meat on them, which I thought was really interesting because I feel like that's something I would actually probably really like because I love nachos. And, they have another Impossible item on the menu, but it's like based in portobello mushroom. So it's a portobello mushroom Impossible burger, which is very interesting. But I probably would just get the Impossible nachos. They have onion rings there. They have French fries. They have milkshakes, things like that. Right. Like the very classic American diner type food is what's there. Like what I guess you would see in like the old timey drive-ins.
That's why like I said, the food wasn't bad, but I just don't like being with the sci-fis. It just doesn't.
Yeah, she just doesn't like sci-fi movies is the main thing. But I think that would be really cool. And again, my fiance is a big car person. We love going to the drive-in. Me and him, we go to the drive-in at Shankwheelers, which is in Pennsylvania, all the time. So I think that's something that we have thought about doing. So I think one day we'll probably do that. And then the other one I did think of was, is it Mama Melrose's?
Melrose.
Or which is the one where like they treat you like you're a child? I'm blanking on the title.
That's Mama Melrose. Yeah, they come and tell you to get your elbows off the table.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, because that's another one that Ted thinks would be really funny just because he likes that type of humor, So when I told him about those two restaurants when we were in the park, he was like, well, why aren't we eating there? Like, I want to eat there. And I was just like, well, we can if you want to, but like, you need to get a reservation for these places.
They're always very packed.
We had picked other restaurants with higher quality food was really what it is. Because at the end of the day, again, I still don't think the food here is going to be the top tier food in any of the parks.
No, the food is never top tier. It's more when you go to Mama Melrose, you're going to Sci-Fi. You're going for the
you're going
experience.
for the fun, the novelty of it. You're not really going for like the high quality top tier food. So I think that's the biggest struggle of Hollywood Studios, that there isn't a lot of places where, for me personally, where I really love the food in the park. But again, I would pick Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater because I have wanted to go to it as an adult for a while now, and I do think it would be really fun just to go, even if the food isn't that great. It's like I would just shuffle through whatever I ate and then just eat afterwards if I have to.
We could always go for lunch, and you could do it for lunch and then just eat a lighter dinner somewhere.
But all right, where is your spot to shop?
That was back on Sunset Boulevard. I like going to Sunset Boulevard because I find that
any specific shop or just doing it all?
I like weaving in and out of all those shops shops because they're kind of all connected, and then you just
Yeah.
go over the little street and you go back in again. And it's got a little bit of everything. They've got the place that sells the hats, and then they've got this place that sells the jewelry, and they got the place that sells all the the souvenir stuff, and but those shops also tend to have the stuff that is more movie merchandise, like little things that just just sort of let you know that you're in Hollywood Studios. And every time we've ever gone there, I've always found something I like a sweatshirt or a shirt or something that when we walk through there, it's something that catches your attention that you say, oh, I didn't see this someplace else. Like it's like those where every park has its own stuff. That's why I like Sunset Boulevard.
I think Hollywood Studios honestly has some of the best shopping in all of the parks as well, and Sunset Boulevard particularly has a lot of the best shops.
Yes.
Now I picked specifically in Sunset Boulevard the Beverly Sunset Boutique, which is one of the boutiques that's on the corner. So this one has some of the fine jewelry and also some of the shirts that are inside of there. But specifically, this store is the one that has a lot of the princess themed stuff. But a lot of these princess shirts and items aren't really anywhere else in any of the other parks.
That's what I mean. Every time we go
there's a lot
there.
of items that are in Hollywood Studios that I think are really hard to find in other parks and almost kind of exclusive to the park in itself. And I'm not really sure why necessarily, because they still sell some of the classic Disney stuff that you would see in the
it
Emporium
just
on Main
seems to me
Street.
that when we pass it, like I said, I didn't see that before.
Yeah, it's because the shops are set up just like the Emporium on Main Street in Magic Kingdom, so it's the same setup and the same vibe overall. But again, the items are just slightly different as all. So yeah, it's kind of hard to explain because it's just one of those things. But they do have a lot of items that are there, and of course they have a lot of items too on the other side of the street with like you were saying, like all the movie items.
Yes.
So they have a lot of the Toy Story items, all of the Pixar items. So it's like things that are kind
They
of.
took some of those shops away when they expanded that market, and then expanded a little. Remember they used to have the villain shop that used to be all just like the villain type stuff with Nightmare
again,
Before
now that's the
Christmas.
Pixar themed
Yes.
one. So now, and again, there used to be a bakery in there, but now that's gone to make way for more items. So they just sell more shops. If
They
anything,
moved
the
it around
shops
a little bit.
Well, because the bakery is gone now, because now it's just the Trolley Car Cafe, which is across the way, and now that's the Starbucks. But anyway, though, but for that area, that's all like the Pixar and the specifically the Toy Story stuff, just because of course Toy Story Land's in Hollywood Studios. But I actually prefer the shops. Like if you're facing Tower of Terror, the shops on the right side of the street,
That's
those
what
ones
I'm
are
talking
definitely
about.
the shops that I like the best. Just
those
because
ones
they
that
tend
you
to
just
have
weave in
more
and out, and
items.
they have all those different. And like I said, I agree. Every time I've been there, I'm like, oh my god, like I didn't see this someplace else, and I always end up buying something because it's something you haven't seen someplace else.
All right, so what is a character that you'd want to meet in the park?
Okay, well, see, character meet and greets. Obviously, I don't do character meet and greets.
Well, we don't really do any character meet and greets.
And in the Hollywood Studios park, nothing really caught my attention except that I remembered that in Galaxy's Edge, again, I do a lot of sitting around because I don't go on those rides. So they go on the rides, and
in my defense, she hasn't actually come with us to Hollywood Studios in a while. So
I remembered it because when they go to Galaxy's Edge, I don't go. One time they did go to Hollywood Studios. I went shopping instead at Disney Springs. But when I do go, when we go to Galaxy's Edge, they go on the rides, and I kind of hang out, like, watch it. And my character meet and greets, I like the people who walked around in Galaxy's Edge. They look so authentic. Like when I was sitting there, I was watching these people, and people were going up to them and talking to them and taking pictures with them and stuff. And I'm looking at their costumes like up close. And I was amazed at how detailed and how well these costumes look. That if you didn't realize you were in Hollywood Studios, you'd be saying to yourself, okay, where am I? Because the costumes were really done to perfection. And everybody was just like walking around. And to me, if I had to go to Hollywood Studios and meet and greet, I like that meet and greet where they walk around.
That's what I agree. So those are called roaming characters. And that's the thing too. In Disney World, the only place we have roaming characters is in Galaxy's Edge with the Star Wars characters. So particularly you will see the Mandalorian and Grogu who wander around, Rey, Chewbacca, Kylo Ren, some of the Stormtroopers as well.
Some of the Stormtroopers.
So they're all roaming characters, which I do agree. I think that's
and
really
some of the
great.
guards. What were the guards?
The Stormtroopers?
Are those considered Stormtroopers? They're not in the heavy
Oh, just
uniforms.
the humans in like the black uniforms.
Yeah, they have the uniforms.
They're part of
they
the
look
First
like
Order.
With the hats and the things with the high boots.
They're part of the First Order.
Oh, First Order.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, though, so that's what I'm saying. Those are roaming characters, and it's one of those things where a lot of people think that Disney should have more, like Disney World should have more roaming characters throughout all of the parks, because in Disneyland they have roaming characters everywhere. So you're just in Disneyland, there's a lot of roaming characters, but in Disney World, only in Hollywood Studios do we have the Star Wars characters as roaming characters. Now, recently, people have been saying that they've been trial running some roaming characters in Magic Kingdom. So, for instance, early in the morning, if you're walking around in Fantasyland, you may see Rapunzel and Flynn Rider walking around in like the Tangled area, just like going to and from certain meet and greets.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But they will actually stop and talk to people and like play games and stuff like that with people early in the morning. So they're thinking Disney is trying to, like, again, test run to see can they do roaming characters at certain times of the day, because again, I think that's so authentic. I think that's really fun, especially for kids, to see like the characters just out and about is super fun as well.
I thought it was great. I mean, it makes you feel like you're in that land.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're standing online to go into a tent or into a room where you just go take a picture and walk away. That's why when it said character character, I'm like, okay, characters. I'm looking at all the characters in Magic in Hollywood Studios, and I'm like, I don't care about much of these characters. But actually, even though I'm not a Star Wars fan, I really
You just like the
enjoyed
idea
it.
of the Roman characters.
Yes, I like the idea of the character.
No, I love the idea of the Roman characters too. Again, this is where I had my character to meet was the Mandalorian and Grogu. Because again, this is the only, I mean, like, of course, in Disney World, the only place you can meet the Star Wars characters, of course, is in Galaxy's Edge. And they're my two favorite characters, I'd say, within the Star Wars universe at the moment.
Right.
And it was very exciting when I got to meet them and see them. I think the biggest challenge with the Roman characters is that because some of them are so popular, it can be hard to like get close to them or to like get a photo with them or something. Right. So that is, I mean, like, of course, that is the benefit of having a proper line and a proper meet and greet, because then you're guaranteed to meet your
That's
character.
why they do it. That's why when you were talking
moment.
about Magic Kingdom, what was rolling through my brain was they may not be, Magic Kingdom is a whole different
you
animal
could get
than
flocked,
Galaxy's
and then
Edge.
suddenly now you're surrounded by people causing a crowd, and then causing
who
a blockage
thinks that they
and a
need to
pathway
get
walk.
close, and who wants to take a picture. And
so again, that's why a lot of the Roman characters are only doing in like the early morning. So that's why it's like before the park gets really crowded and stuff like that. Or again, they're walking to and from their own meet and greets, and they just stop for a little bit. Like they just take like a long time to get to and from their meet and greet, so it feels like they're roaming around a bit. But there's been lots of times like Flynn Rider and Rapunzel were playing like red light, green light with a bunch of kids.
Oh, really?
In the Tangled area with kids. Yeah, it was really cute. There's also been some times too where some of like the face characters, so like Mickey and Minnie, have been coming out and they've been riding some of the rides with the kids as well, like going on the Dumbo ride with kids, which again I also think is really cute as well too.
But like I said, I think
we've
the
always
logistics.
Seen, we've always seen Alice and the Mad Hatter go on the teacups as well. So like that's another one where you often see the characters start to roam and they'll go on rides with kids, which I think is super cute. And again, it causes like a really huge magical moment for a family, especially.
I think it is because, like you said, especially for a young kid to see these characters out and about and
like
being
in the
with
park
you,
with you,
right?
Like,
as opposed to having to stand online just to take a picture with them, it becomes more of the fantasy.
Yeah, I think it's so cool. I love it. So,
and that's why I like the idea of these people walking around in Galaxy's
I know again
Edge.
it has to do with like the safety and the crowds and things like that. So I get that, but it's like I think if you can work in early in the mornings, I think that would be just like special and fun, just randomly too, of course.
Right.
So, but all right, so now we're on our show to watch. What show would you want to watch?
Well, the only show that I really, I mean, there's little shows here and there that that you watch and stuff, but I really liked watching Fantasmic when I saw it.
Yeah, I had Fantasmic too. It was hard not to pick the big show.
Yes, because it was good. We just haven't been there
because now
late
they have
enough.
the new villain show, they have the new Little Mermaid show, and we haven't seen those shows, so it's like I'm sure those are great shows, but at the same time, like it still has to be fantastic.
But even when I love the old Little Mermaid show. You go in there and you feel like you're under the sea and whatever. And for me, it's because I have an affinity for the Little Mermaid, show itself, the whole idea of Ariel and the Caribbean and the whole thing. But when I think about a show at Hollywood Studios, the top one, and even Beauty and the Beast was good. We've seen the stage show of Beauty and the Beast. It's very good. But how could you not want Fantasmic? I mean, it was just
it's just its own show in itself. Yeah, it's just so special. It's the big nighttime show. It's a very infamous show in that sense. So it just had to be fantastic. Right. You can't beat it.
So that's what I picked too.
All right, now finally to our final segment. So what ride did you pick here?
Okay, I had really they're the only two rides I go on, but it was a tie.
I'm gonna guess though. Let's see if I can guess. Did you pick Toy Story Mania?
Yeah, and Minnie and Minnie's Railway.
You picked both of them?
Yeah, both of them are sort of a tie.
Yeah, okay, well, which one would you pick more than the other?
I think Toy Story Mania.
I was gonna say Toy Story Mania.
Because I really enjoy Toy Story Mania. It's fun. It's all a lot of fun, a lot of laughing, a lot of stuff. But I like Mickey and Minnie's Railway too. I know it's your favorite ride.
Yeah,
it's not my favorite ride in all the parks. But imagine in Hollywood Studios, really they're the only two rides I really go on. But Toy Story Mania, I think, is just fun. I think the way it is, the whole idea of what you're doing, because the other one is Buzz Lightyear was a little harder, where this one's just more fun.
Yeah, it's more fun. I think again the graphics are a lot more fun. You're playing different games, which I think is kind of fun too. So it's just
and there's just the whole camaraderie of like when we go on it, who's got to get the best score and who's got to do this. I'm always the lowest score.
Your arms and like pain afterwards.
Yeah, I'm always the lowest score. But the idea here is that when I looked at the rides, I was like, oh no, I said Toy Story. I kept going back and forth, but technically I like them both.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fine. Yeah, I did pick Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. This is my favorite ride in all of the parks. I love this ride so much. In a perfect world, it would be similar to Disneyland, where we still have a Toontown and Magic Kingdom, and this ride would be in Toontown in Magic Kingdom, and we would still have the Great Movie Ride. Now, we have recently done a deep dive into the history of the Great Movie Ride, so I understand a lot of reasoning why Disney maybe took away the Great Movie Ride, such as licensing of the films themselves and paying for those licensing and those copyright to have the films in the park, whereas now the park almost truly is a full Disney movie park without all those other extra films. So I get it to a certain extent, the legal aspect of it.
But we still miss it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I still miss the Great Movie Ride. I feel like in a perfect world, they would have just updated the Great Movie Ride with maybe some more recent movies. And again, Mickey's and Minnie's would be in Magic Kingdom, in a Toontown, in Magic Kingdom. So, but anyway, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I still love Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Yes. It is one of my favorite rides. I think it's just so fun. It's so whimsical. I think it's very classic Disney to a certain extent.
Yes,
like if you go
that's
to
what
Disney,
I said. That's why it's fun.
That is what you expect.
Now, that little song
something
is
like
in your
that.
head, when you get off. It's
like that's what you expect.
Yeah.
Is like the fun that you have on that ride is like what Disney I feel like embodies in,
Yes.
in a general
You see all the
sense.
basic characters. They're all,
Yeah,
you know,
all your
there.
the Fab
Yeah.
Five, all your favorites are basically there. I actually really love the animation style too of it as well.
Yes.
So again, overall, I just love Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. All right, yeah, that is how we would pick one in all of these categories for our snack, quick service, table service, spot to shop, character to meet, show to watch, and a ride here in Hollywood Studios. And this was tricky, obviously, for my mom because it's not her favorite park. It's
No, like I said, when I first saw
park.
the email that said, "Mom, could you do this for the podcast?" I was like, "Oh, damn, that's going to be hard." But then when I sat down and started writing down, I was like, "Wait a minute, no,
I'm trying to do more episodes, across like all the parks because for a while there we were only doing episodes in Magic Kingdom and Epcot. And, wow, we got to bring back Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. I was like, it's just I try to look to see what we've done and try to mix it up a bit. But all right, so now we've done one for Hollywood Studios. We haven't done one in the Animal Kingdom in a while, so that one will be coming up soon. But all right, let's get into some Disney news. So this is a slightly pre-recorded episode. So the biggest Disney news right now is that again, like 4th of July recently happened. So of course the big 4th of July, festivities were happening. But there is a new cake pop at Disney Springs. Honestly, I'm really surprised this took so long, but is the Evil Queen chocolate apple cake pop. There's basically the caramel apples that look like the poison apple from Snow White. They basically made it smaller and look like a little cake pop with like apple flavoring basically.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it looks so cute and it looks so authentic. And I'm like, wow, it took them this long to like create something like this. But it looks so cute. I definitely would love to try that out. There's a lot of new merchandise for the Haunted Mansion that's in Disneyland and in Disney World as well. There's also the biggest thing that I'm seeing everyone is that I feel like people really love those mystery things where you buy the item and you don't know which item you're going to get.
Okay.
So the big right now is the mystery Disney garbage can. So you buy the little mystery Disney garbage can and it's going to be one of the garbage cans that are like themed to one of the lands. But that's the one I've been seeing lots of people doing the opening packages of like the mystery stuff.
Okay.
And I will say I was never really into the mystery items. I was like, no, I don't like the idea of mystery items because you don't know what you're getting. Like I want to know what I'm getting. But then when I was out with my friends, Tyler did a few of the mystery items and I was like, actually I could see how it's like fun because you're like the anticipation of like which one you want to get.
And you get so excited when you get the one you want.
Yeah, so it is kind of fun. So yeah, so I can definitely see it. And yeah, I think the garbage cans are really cute. I think I just don't know what I would do with one. Like I know a lot of people keep them like on their desk.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people keep their little garbage cans like on their desk and they actually put like maybe a little garbage in the garbage cans or again, it's just like
they're
a little
big.
decor.
Okay.
They're small. They're like maybe like this high.
Okay.
They're like a little desk ornament basically. So they're not that big, but yeah, but they are cute though. So I know maybe one day I'll try to get one of those. There is a new Figment in like a blanket plushie that people are going crazy over.
Oh,
it does look really
the
cute.
little baby Figment. I saw that.
Yeah, it's like baby Figment in
Oh my
like a little
God!
blanket.
Because you had the giraffe.
Yeah, I had a giraffe when I was a
You had
child.
a baby
yeah.
giraffe downstairs somewhere. But anyway, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is going to sell out like crazy. Because first of all, it was cute and everybody loves Figment.
No, for sure. Yeah, that one was so much so that some of my friends even sent me like photos of that, being like, "Oh my gosh, look how cute that is." They all loved Figment when we were there, which I love too. But I just thought it was funny that everyone really like clung to Figment specifically, especially because my fiance thought Figment was kind of weird, and then all my friends were like, "Figment's great."
Everybody loves Figment.
The complete opposite here. So
Right.
all right, in Disney Springs there are some new Dole Whip lights as well, so you can get the new July Dole Whip sampler flight. One is pineapple and vanilla, one is lime and strawberry, and then the other is orange and watermelon. Honestly, all these flavors sound pretty good to me. Sometimes when I see the Dole Whip flights,
I like the idea of the
like,
flights. I really like the idea that they're coming up with these flights because it gives you a chance to taste the other flavors without having one big
for sure.
one.
So you're not like committing as hard for sure. So there's been a lot of after hours dates recently that have been announced. So all of the after hours dates have been announced for July, August, and September in Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Typhoon Lagoon. So those would be really great too if you're staying on Disney property. You'll be able to go to the parks after hours and then enjoy a more quiet park, I would say overall. So definitely check out when those dates are because that's really important. I won't go through them because you might as well just Google it because it'll be a lot easier for you to remember.
All those dates.
And then finally, we also have a new, what is this? The new key lime and orange cream s'mores. That's also at Goofy's Candy Company in Disney Springs. I'm just calling this out just because it looks really cute.
That doesn't sound happy.
It just looks really cute though. I will say I've actually never had key lime pie. Not once in my entire life.
Are you serious?
I've never had anything key lime
Oh my God,
flavor.
I just brought that to Nikki's last week.
Yeah, I have no idea if I ever even
very
liked key lime
good.
pie. But this looks so cute. That's why I was like, you know what? Maybe I would try something key lime. But all right, now that we can get into some Disney birthdays. There are actually no Disney birthdays this week, and there's no birthdays in our personal lives either. And
wow, quiet.
Yeah, all right. So that leaves us with our final segment of the podcast, our Disney memory.
I have a memory for this one. And Amanda probably knows which one it is. Hollywood Studios. I use this memory all the time. I don't know if we've done it before, but we were at Hollywood Studios. And like I said, I'm not a Star Wars fan, but we were waiting for this show to come on the stage. That they used to have that stage in front of the hat and the stuff. And all of a sudden
No, they took the hat down to put that stage up.
Oh, is that where the stage was? Yep. Okay. Well, all of a sudden you heard this music and it was the Star Wars, like kind of like that, boom, boom music. And all of a sudden I looked looked up and all the white guys were walking, what do you call them?
The stormtroopers.
Troopers were walking down the street. They were parading down the main street, and I was mesmerized.
Yeah, I think it was called the March of the First Order or the March of the Stormtroopers or something.
I was mesmerized.
This was in pre-COVID times as well.
Yes, it was pre-COVID. But this memory is so sharp in my mind because I was like, me not being a Star Wars fan at all, figured, okay, we'll stand through this show because they want to see it. When I saw these guys and heard that music, it actually sent tingles up my spine.
Yeah, it was a very formal, like military march almost.
Yes.
And then because it was so formal, they kind of came through just like down the street, and then they sort of went on the stage. And that was like a whole stage show.
And then the head person.
Yeah, the lead stormtrooper.
Yeah, the lead stormtrooper dressed in black. Okay, so in my mind,
I'm blanking on her name, but she does have a name.
No, she was dressed in black.
Yeah,
but in my mind, they were the good guys because they were all dressed in white. Somebody had to tell me, no, those are the bad guys. I was like, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was in shock that.
Yes, I was in shock that I was
dressed in white.
Yes, because I didn't know what I was. But I have to say, as a non-Star Wars fan, caught my attention to the point where as soon as we said Hollywood, as soon as you say Hollywood Studios, it's the first thing that pops into my head. The stormtroopers. Mm-hmm. I wish they would do that again because I got to tell you, it was impressive.
I feel like they could do it because they do have that ship of the First Order that's in Galaxy's Edge. I almost feel like they could have them come around there and like do a stage show there because they do stage shows over by that ship for the First Order. So I don't know. I wonder if maybe one day they'll do it, or they just don't have the capacity.
Yeah, I'm assuming it didn't do to everybody else what it did to me, but I got to tell you, I was just so impressed that as soon as you say Hollywood Studios,
I suppose too, you need enough like cast members of the same height as well to pull it off perfectly.
All the same height, the same uniform, the same in unison.
Yeah, because that's the joke in the very first movie, right? When Leia sees Luke, she says to him like, "Aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?" That's like the first line she says to Luke Skywalker. So I do think that's kind of funny, but I don't know. I do think that would be really cool if they brought that back.
That's always been my memory for Hollywood Studios.
No, for sure. I guess I didn't have one specific. I guess in mind when I went to Galaxy's Edge recently with my friends. When we were there, you first come through the main entrance of Hollywood Studios. Of Galaxy's Edge rather. We did Rise of the Resistance first, which is right at the very front of the main entrance, and then we decided like we didn't have time for Smuggler's Run. So I'm like, all right, let's just spend time and like walk through the land. And everyone loved the land, even if my friends had never seen Star Wars. They still again thought the land was so cool because it's so immersive and it was really exciting. But what was funny was that Tyler really wanted the blue milk. That was like his number one thing. For some reason, he like desperately wanted the blue milk. But as we were walking, I know I know the parks pretty well, so I know where the blue milk stand is. So every time we'd walk by someplace where you can kind of see food, he's like, "Oh, is that where you get the blue milk?" And I'm like, "No, actually, that's not where it is." And I'm like, "It's like around the corner." But like I have it on video of us like walking around Tyler being, "Is that the blue milk?" And I'm like, "No, that's not the blue milk." But it's just so funny. And then by the time we got the blue milk, I didn't know this until literally the end of the day because this was like maybe 10:30, 11:30 in the morning. He put alcohol in the blue milk, and I didn't know that. So he had his blue milk, and then apparently when we had lunch that day, he had alcohol and lunch. And then when we went to Epcot and we were drinking around the world, that's when I found out he was on his like 6th drink of the day. And I was like, how did I not realize
blue milk you can buy without alcohol?
You can buy
without
with or without. Yes, I always get it without. And then I think the alcohol they put in it is like rum or something like that. There's like a few options you can put of alcohol in it, which makes it about $15 or something like that, $15 or $16. But yeah, I always get it without alcohol, and it's still $10 without alcohol, which does feel like a lot. But I do think it tastes very good though, and like that's my main crux is that every time I go, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get it because it's expensive. I actually didn't get it the last time. I was just like, no, I'm not gonna spend $10 on it because I don't need a drink for $10. But then sometimes when I see photos of it, I'm like, no, but it is pretty good. I don't know. Good. Maybe it definitely
it's
on a hot
treat
day,
you don't
good.
Get someplace else.
Yeah, again, it's an exclusive treat, and that's why it's like it's worth it to get it because it's like, you know what, I can't get this anywhere else. I don't know how to make this at home.
Drinking milk doesn't interest me, so even blue milk doesn't interest me.
Well, I would say it's not really milk. It's more of like a slushy sort of, I guess is the best way. It's kind of like a very liquid slushy sort of, and it's made with coconut milk, so it's not even made with real milk, so it is vegan. But it's kind of like a fruity slushy almost. It's kind of hard to describe. A lot of people describe it as well as kind of if you had a fruity cereal and you're done with the cereal and the milk that's left over. Oh, okay. It's kind of like the flavor of that, like the fruity milk.
That doesn't interest
me. But it's
either.
Not. It's more slushy like than like liquid like, I guess is the best way to say. So, and I've only had the blue milk. I've not had the green milk. The green milk I know has a more floral scent, floral taste to it, and I don't think I would like that. So that's why I decided not to spend $10 on the green milk, just because I don't think I would like it. And I figured I would like the blue milk, and I do like the blue milk. If I was with somebody who got the green milk, I would definitely taste it, but I don't think it's worth me spending $10 and then realizing I'm not going to like it. Right. The amount of times I have bought the mango bubble tea in the China Pavilion in Epcot, every time to remember, wow, this does not taste good, is pretty ridiculous. So I've spent many a times getting that mango bubble tea and then just sucking it down because it's really not that good. Right. So I feel like that's what I'm going to do with the green milk one day. That's just like, you know, it's like, we're not going to do that. We're going to be smart and just get what I know. So, but all right. Thanks everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you give us a review review in Apple Podcast or Spotify, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. And also make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you're following us on social media. It is Almost Amanda X, and it'll be linked in the description below. And then let us know, what would you pick for all of these segments for Hollywood Studios? What is your favorite snack? What is your favorite quick service? Do you like the food in Hollywood Studios and maybe we're just haters, or we just aren't eating the right items or something like that? Definitely possible, because again, we mainly only go to Hollywood Studios in the morning, and then we're on
by the afternoon we leave.
We'd love to know your thoughts. Definitely let us know. But until then,